Steph, good morning. And some very tense moments at Trinity Bellwoods Park as Toronto police and other officials moving in to evict people living in an encampment.
There does come a time when the enforcement people have to make their own decision as to when they have to take some action to say that we can't let the situation continue because of the fires, because of the threats to safety and health.
And of course, we were bringing you this story live throughout the morning yesterday, but the situation went well into the evening. Police say 3 people were arrested. A 35-year-old woman facing assault charges with a weapon. A 23-year-old man allegedly arrested for allegedly assaulting a peace officer, while a 33-year-old man is facing 2 weapons-related charges. By the end of the day, belongings and other debris cleared from the site.
I need to defend my human, civil, charter rights and attempt to stay here until I can get into permanent housing.
Trespass notices were handed out on June the 12th. Those living in the park were given 2 to 3 hours to pack up and had the option to move to an indoor space provided by the city. We're going to bring you back to a live look at Trinity Bellwoods this morning to see the site. Okay, you can still see the fencing remains up. A lot quieter here this morning. Some residents previously living in the area say they felt safer in the park, especially during the pandemic. You can still see some structures remain up here. Advocates say more needs to be done, though, to create affordable housing in the city. And we're going to get some more reaction throughout the morning. You can still see a police presence as well. Well, Toronto police are investigating after a man and a woman injured in an overnight shooting in Flemingdon Park. We are live at the scene, which is at Don Mills and St. Denis Drive. This call coming in just after midnight. Several people reported hearing multiple gunshots. Police arrived, found a man and a woman suffering from serious injuries. There's no word on their current condition and no suspect description at this time. Meanwhile, police have made a second arrest in connection to a shooting at a 1-year-old's birthday party in Rexdale that left 4 people injured, including 3 children. This happened on Saturday night in Tandridge Crescent and Byng Avenue Road area. The shooting sending shockwaves right through the community as 3 kids rushed to hospital. Police saying a 5-year-old girl remains in critical condition, while a 1-year-old boy and an 11-year-old boy released from hospital. Police Chief James Raymer says the shooting happened after an argument broke out between 2 men.
The 2 men began shooting at each other, at which point people in attendance joined in an exchange of gunfire. Our officers are still looking for other people that were involved in shooting. If you were involved in this incident, I suggest you find a lawyer and turn yourself in. We're working very hard to identify everyone who was involved at that party, and we will be arresting all of you.
24-year-old DeMar Cardigan was the only adult injured in this incident. He has since been identified as one of the suspects and is facing charges. 21-year-old Kevin George has also been arrested. He's facing multiple charges, including 4 counts of aggravated assault. All right, we are less than a year away from the next provincial election, and a new quarterly survey showing Premier Doug Ford isn't doing so well in approval ratings. This survey by Maru Public Opinion ranked 9 premiers across the country, Ford sitting at 7th spot. At the bottom of the list, Manitoba Premier Brian Pallister. The premier with the highest approval rating is Saskatchewan's Scott Moe, and closely behind, Quebec Premier François Legault, and rounding out the top 3, you'll see BC Premier John Horgan. Now, this is a scary sight. A man armed with a butcher's knife arrested after showing up outside Premier Doug Ford's Etobicoke home on Monday night. Now, a government spokesperson says the man was yelling threats. He was immediately arrested by an OPP officer who was on scene as part of a regular security detail. 44-year-old George Neras of Toronto facing a dozen charges, including possession of a weapon. Let's turn to COVID-19 now. Toronto's upcoming Winning Shot Clinic has been so popular that the city is opening up thousands of extra appointments this weekend. An additional 5,000 slots are up for grabs through the provincial booking system. 10,000 appointments have already been booked for the weekend clinic that's happening at Scotiabank Arena. First and second dose bookings are available. And also a reminder, starting at 8 a.m. this morning, Ontario residents living in 10 Delta hotspots who received their first mRNA shot on or before May 30th can sign up for that second dose on the province's vaccine portal. A lot going on. All right, Canadians still wondering, when are our borders finally going to reopen? Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the country taking a very cautious approach, but the announcement could come soon.
Every step of the way, we need to be careful because there's a situation of the level of vaccination in the country. We have to look at case levels in the country and outbreaks. We have to look at what variants of concern are present in Canada and indeed the situation around the world.
The Canada-U.S. border has been shut down since May 2020, and the restrictions are set to expire on July 21st. Trudeau is holding a national caucus meeting this morning at 10 a.m. Well, federal health officials say they will also soon create a risk assessment tool that will help guide fully vaccinated adults on what they can do safely without wearing masks or physically distancing. We know the CDC in the U.S. already issuing general guidance for fully vaccinated people back in March. Americans, for example, are allowed to socialize indoors without masks with those who are fully vaccinated as well. So stay tuned for that. And coming up next, place your bets. Sports fans will soon have more options to gamble on events. Chris McCusker is going to explain. She's coming up next in business.